He was a serial killer who bragged about killing people, and he professed and confessed to be a demon.
He was that, bro. If he wanted you out of there, he'll go do it himself on feet by himself.
Vaughn gave me a lot of passes. He could have killed me a couple times.
I was happy as hell when I found out Vaughn was dead. I cooked for the whole day.
I was relieved for the community, man, because he was over there torturing them guys, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
Something was wrong with him. That's not human, man. You're not regular, man.
Welcome to Only the Fam, the podcast where we talk about the legends of rap, the real ones who came from nothing and made their names ring bells in both the street and the booth. I'm talking real ones, no cap. Today we're speaking on a true street legend, King Von. Born in Chicago, raised on O Block, and made for the trenches, on God. This ain't no fairy tale. This is the uncut, pain-filled, real-life tale of the young king who lived fast, loved hard, and told stories that hit your soul. If you know, you know. Vaughn ain't just about rap. He was the voice of a lifestyle, culture, struggle. So sit back, tune in, and lock all the way in. Because this one's for the big steppers. Long live King Vaughn. All right, so boom, let's take it back to where it all started. South Side Chicago, Parkway Gardens. Y'all know it as O Block, but Vaughn, that was his home. That's where lessons got taught, where youngins turned into soldiers before they even hit high school. Vaughn was born Davon Daquan Bennett, August 9th, 1994. Off rip, life wasn't never sweet. He was raised by his mama, a real one who always held down the household. Pops, he wasn't really there in the picture like that, and when he was, he got taken away early. Murdered when Vaughn was just a little boy. That loss hit hard, for real. Imagine growing up with no father, just trying to figure it out by yourself. But even as a kid, Vaughn moved different. Quiet, observant, but always thinking. The block was loud, but Vaughn had that calm energy, like he was built for what was coming. In Trust and No Block, either adapt or you got eaten alive. There ain't no in between. By the time Vaughn was a teen, he was locked in with the streets. Not for clout, not for kicks, but out of necessity. Real talk, when you're surrounded by poverty, pain, and pressure, you have no luxury to dream big. You just gotta keep making it to the next day. But even through all that, Vaughn was picking up game. Watching, learning, keeping tabs on who was real and who was folding under pressure. He had a few solid ones around him. Folks like T. Roy, that was his dog. His twin, for real. Losing T, that was something that flipped the switch in Vaughn. That pain turned into fuel. You could see it in his eyes. He was never the same after that. On God, that's some pain you don't bounce back from. You gotta just learn how to carry it better. All right, so we talked about where Vaughn came from. O Block. The losses, the pressure, the survival. But now let's get into the part of his life that really set the tone for everything after. The time he spent behind the walls and how jail turned a soldier into a storyteller. Vaughn was always in the mix. He wasn't a sideline player. He was in it, stepping, moving. He was very known. But that lifestyle comes with heat. And in 2014, Vaughn caught the case that most dudes don't walk away from. Cops hit him with one count of murder and two counts of attempted murder. They said he let off shots outside a party in Inglewood. That move got one man killed and two others wounded. Now look, when they lock you up for a body in Chicago, that isn't light. They were about to throw Vaughn in jail when he was only 19 years old, and he was facing life. Ain't no rap dreams in sight, just old cold cells and court dates. He sat down over 3.5 years in Cook County Jail, fighting the case. Real talk, most would have folded, but Vaughn stood 10 toes because he doesn't snitch. No statements, and he kept his name solid. But while he was locked up, that's when the shift happened. Vaughn started writing, not just bars, but full-on stories. He always said that he had a movie in his head, and jail gave him the time to write a piece in it together. That pain, the anger, the trauma, it was all fuel. And when he was cooking behind them walls. When Vaughn beat his case in 2017, it was like destiny cracked the door open. He wasn't going to waste any time. He came home, he linked up with a fellow O Block member, Lil Durk, and then he got signed off to OTF. That's only the fam. Dirk gave him the alley-oop, a chance to rap, to live, to flip the script. And Vaughn, he took a hold of that. Then came to the track that changed everything. Crazy Story. That joint hit like a missile. It wasn't just bars, but it was a movie in audio form. Vaughn didn't rap like other dudes. He gave you a whole scene, the plot, the setup, the action, and the ending. You felt like you were riding in a car with him. And it wasn't just one song. He also wrote Took Her to the O, 3 a.m., How It Go, and a lot more. All of them bangers. All of them with the same vivid, real life narration. He made tracks for the ones who've been through it or still going through it. His voice became therapy for the trenches. But the thing is, Vaughn wasn't stuck in the street no more. He was elevating. His song How It Go hit different, talking about how the system breaks people down and how coming home doesn't mean you're free. That was grown man rap. That's pain with a message. Vaughn wasn't rapping the flex. He was rapping to tell his side of the story, to make sure his homies didn't die for anything, and to show the youngins a different path. And even though the streets were still pulling at him, he was just trying to move right, putting his people on, stacking papers, doing shows, and feeding the block. He turned his rap sheet into a resume, his pain into power, his silence into sound, and that's why his music hit deep, because he's never going to lie on the tracks. What you heard, that was in real life, on God. All right, Vaughn was on the rise. We're talking big. The streets had his back, his music was hitting hard, and everything was looking like he was going to break out and leave his mark on the rap game. But one thing you can't escape when you come from the bottom, it's the streets. That street life just doesn't let go. The way Vaughn lived, the things he had to go through, it was only a matter of time before the tension boiled over. November 6th, 2020. That was the night everything shifted. Vaughn was out in Atlanta on a regular night after a show. He was in city with his crew, just kicking it at an old hookah lounge. That night seemed like it could have been like any other, but Vaughn, he was already in the crosshairs. The heat, it was already on him. Fight broke out on the spot. Now Vaughn wasn't the type to back down, but what started as some minor altercation outside of a lounge escalated real quick. And just like that, shots rang out. It wasn't even supposed to go down like this. From the moment those shots fired, just the chaos unfolded. And Vaughn, well, sadly Vaughn got hit. Now here's the thing. This wasn't just some random street incident. There was a deep history between this moment. Vaughn had been at the center of street drama for beefs over years. Obok was where he was raised. And that wasn't just his neighborhood. It was a war zone with rivals from all over the city and even outside of Chicago. In Atlanta, that wasn't just some random city either where he happened to be. It wasn't some chance encounter. Vaughn was caught up in ongoing beef that had finally been brewing for years and came undone. Vaughn's tensions with Quando Rondo were no secret. Some folks say that night was a direct result of the beef. See, before this, Vaughn and Quando's crew had been going at it. The streets don't forget. The animosity between them ran deeper than just words on a track. This was street politics, and when ops see each other, things tend to go left real quick. Atlanta being the city it was, and all the places where all the tension finally came to head. That night, Vaughn was shot, and it's believed that Quando's crew was right there, and the situation just flipped. The violence that night wasn't just some random encounter. It was a clash of street forces that had been building for years. Vaughn had beef with other people like Lil Jojo too. These long-standing rivalries in Chicago, they never really go away. And in the game Vaughn was in, these street beefs are always in the back of your mind. They stay with you, they define you, and sometimes, well, they end you. It's that simple. Vaughn wasn't just a rapper. He was part of something much bigger. He was O-Block's face, carrying the weight for all the homies who never made it. And whenever you're at the top, well, you become a target. When Vaughn got hit, it wasn't just the end of his life. It was the end of the movement he started. That was his time. The world was finally paying attention, and he just started to make a scratch at the surface of his potential. Gone at 26. And it's heartbreaking because Vaughn wasn't just another rapper. He was more than that. He was a voice for the underdogs. He was a real one. The type that gave the streets something real to stand on. But his death, as tragic as it was, wasn't just an end to his legacy. Nah, it left a hole in his game. And even though Vaughn was taken too soon, his music still echoes through the streets. That night might have been the end of Vaughn's life, but it wasn't the end of what he stood for. His legacy is bigger than just his death. His storytelling, his raw truth, and his realness. That's what we hold on to. His music still speaks to people that have been through the same pain, the same struggle. Vaughn's spirit is live in the songs that he tells the stories of the streets. That is his true legacy. Man, that's it for this episode of Only the Fam. We done talked about a real one today. King Vaughn, from the cold streets of Oblock to stages across the world. He ain't ever fooled. He told his story, lived his truth, and left his name in the game, stamped permanent on God. But this isn't just about rap. It's what it means to come from nothing, to fight for something, and to leave a voice behind that the streets still echo. So if you feel this, if Vaughn's story hit you, if you come from the same pain, keep going. Keep grinding. Because legends ain't born. They're built. Rest up, Vaughn. Long live a real one. Catch y'all next time on Only the Fam, where we remember the ones who ain't ever switched sides. Real talk, real stories, all fam.